Ladies and gentlemen, success is not the property of the fortunate. It is the reward of the intentional. Personal growth is not the product of chance. It is the product of deliberate, disciplined effort. The world does not give you what you wish for. It gives you what you are prepared to claim with unshakable belief and persistent action. Step 1. Definiteness of purpose. Until you know what you want, how can you ever expect to get it? All personal growth begins with clarity. Define your aim in life, not loosely, not vaguely, but with precision. Decide what you want to become, who you wish to be, and how high you're willing to climb. A ship without a destination will be tossed by every wave, but a ship with a course will harness the wind. Step 2. Desire, not wishful thinking, not weak hopes, but white-hot burning desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. If your goal does not set your soul on fire, you will never endure the storms required to reach it. The man or woman who truly wants something will find a way. Others will find excuses. Step 3. Faith. Believe in yourself, even when others do not. Faith is the foundation of progress. It is the invisible force that transforms dreams into reality. Tell yourself daily, I was born to grow. I was born to rise. I was born to overcome. For what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Step 4. Specialized knowledge. Growth requires learning. Not just learning in general, but focused, applied knowledge. The world does not reward those who know everything. It rewards those who know something very well and apply it with excellence. Become a student of your craft. Never stop learning, because growth stops where ignorance begins. Step 5. Self-discipline. The ability to control one's thoughts and actions is the master key to personal development. Discipline builds the bridge between your goals and their realization. Without discipline, dreams remain fantasies, but with it, success becomes inevitable. Step 6. Persistence. The road to personal growth is paved with obstacles. Many begin the journey, but only those who persist finish it. When the path becomes difficult, and it will remember, temporary defeat is not failure. It is merely a test to determine how badly you want what you say you desire. Step 7. Mastermind alliance. Surround yourself with people who uplift, challenge, and sharpen you. Great minds working together multiply strength. Find mentors. Seek wise counsel. Link arms with those who are going where you want to go. You are not meant to grow alone. Step 8. Positive mental attitude. The thoughts you dwell on will shape the life you live. Banish fear, doubt, and negativity. Replace them with courage, confidence, and expectancy. A positive mind repels limitation. It attracts opportunity like a magnet. It turns setbacks into setups for comebacks. Step 9. Decision. Procrastination is the thief of destiny. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly. Decide today that you will no longer remain where you are. Make a firm, irrevocable choice to rise above your past and step into your potential. Step 10. Action. Thought is the seed, but action is the harvest. Nothing changes until you move. Dreams demand motion. Plans demand execution. The road to personal growth is walked one step at a time, but each step must be taken with purpose. Now I say to you, you were not born to drift. You were not created to shrink. You were designed to expand, to build, to become. The world is waiting for what is inside you. Don't die with your potential untouched. Don't leave this world the way you entered it. Grow, rise, conquer. Clarity is the catalyst of growth. Clarity is one of the most overlooked yet essential ingredients in the pursuit of personal growth. Without clarity, even the most determined individual can spend years striving, hustling, and grinding, only to end up nowhere in particular. To grow, we must know. We must know who we are, where we're going, and why it matters. Clarity functions like a compass in the journey of life. It doesn't eliminate the storms, but it ensures we're sailing in the right direction. When a person lacks clarity, their efforts become scattered. They may work hard, but their energy is divided. Their focus is weak, and their results are inconsistent. Think of a magnifying glass. When it concentrates sunlight on a single point, it can start a fire. But if the glass constantly moves, the heat disperses. The same is true with our lives. Clarity focuses our internal energy, our time, our attention, and our resources toward meaningful progress. One of the biggest myths in personal development is that growth happens automatically with age or experience. But growth is not automatic, it is intentional. And intention requires direction. Without a clear purpose, people often chase goals that don't align with their values. They find themselves reaching milestones only to feel empty when they arrive. Clarity prevents that. It ensures your ladder is leaning against the right wall before you begin to climb. Clarity also brings power. When you are clear on what matters most to you, decision-making becomes easy. You stop saying yes to everything and start saying no to the things that distract, derail, or delay your purpose. You become less reactive and more proactive. Your life is no longer driven by the urgent, but by the important. You stop living by default and start living by design. Furthermore, clarity eliminates confusion and fear. Often fear thrives in the unknown. But when we take time to reflect, to define our goals, our calling, and our values, fear begins to shrink. We begin to see the path ahead, even if it's just the next step. That next step, taken with confidence, leads to the next, and then the next. Clarity gives us courage, because we know we are not just moving, we are moving in the right direction. Getting clarity, however, is not always immediate. It takes time, reflection, and often stillness. In a noisy world, clarity requires that we turn down the volume of external voices and tune in to what truly matters within. It's about asking the hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I value most? What legacy do I want to leave behind? What am I called to contribute to the world? Clarity often comes from pain, failure, or transition. Sometimes the moments when life forces us to slow down or even fall apart are the very moments that strip away the clutter and show us what is real. In those seasons, if we are willing to listen, clarity can emerge like the sun after a storm. It may not answer every question, but it will light the next step. Once you have clarity, protect it, revisit it, write it down, remind yourself daily of what you're aiming for. Because life will throw distractions and detours your way. But when you are clear, you can navigate them with wisdom and strength. You can rise above the noise, avoid unnecessary battles, and stay aligned with your purpose. In the end, clarity is not just about knowing where you're going, it's about knowing who you're becoming. And when you are clear about both, personal growth is not just possible, it's inevitable. Desire fuels discipline. Desire is the spark that ignites the fire of transformation. It is the internal force that makes us move, strive, and endure. Without desire, no plan matters, no strategy works, and no discipline can survive. Discipline, as important as it is, does not stand on its own. It draws its strength from something deeper, and that deeper force is desire. People often think that discipline is just about self-control or willpower. They assume it's a matter of gritting their teeth and doing what they don't want to do. But true discipline, the kind that lasts and transforms, doesn't come from pressure alone. It flows from passion. When you want something badly enough, you don't have to force yourself to act. You're compelled to act. It becomes natural to sacrifice, to push through discomfort, to stay committed. That's because desire fuels discipline. Look at any person who has achieved great success in any field: business, sports, ministry, relationships, health. Behind the routines, behind the schedules and sacrifices, there is always a burning desire. The athlete wakes up at 5 a.m., not because they love the pain of training, but because they're hungry to win. The entrepreneur works late nights, not because they enjoy stress, but because they're passionate about building something meaningful. The parent stays patient and loving, not because parenting is easy, but because they deeply desire to raise children with wisdom and love. It's desire that drives the discipline. Without desire, discipline. Without desire, discipline becomes drudgery. It becomes forced, shallow, and temporary. That's why people can stick to a routine for a few days or weeks, but fall off when the emotion fades. If they never connected their actions to a deep inner desire, they will never sustain their discipline. But when the why is strong, the how becomes easier. When you truly want to grow, to become better, to rise above your past, then the disciplines that support that growth become less of a burden and more of a joy. This is why clarity of purpose matters so much, because the more clearly you understand what you want and why you want it, the more fuel you generate. A vague wish produces weak discipline, but a vivid desire, a vision that grips your heart, that's what creates unstoppable momentum. When you can see it, feel it, and almost taste it, you will do what needs to be done to get there. Now, desire doesn't mean things will be easy. Even with desire, you will still face resistance, pain, and setbacks. But when your heart is set on something greater, you will endure. Desire turns obstacles into stepping stones. It transforms hardship into training. It gives meaning to the struggle and strength to the journey. Sometimes people think they lack discipline, when the truth is they've lost touch with their desire. Life has a way of burying passion under pressure. Responsibilities, failures, disappointments, they can cause our desires to fade. That's why it's important to reconnect with what drives you. Take time to ask yourself, what do I truly want to become? What am I willing to pay the price for? Reignite your desire, and your discipline will return with it. Desire also sharpens your focus. It helps you say no to distractions, because you're saying yes to something greater. You stop wasting time, energy, and emotion on things that don't serve your purpose. Discipline isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. And desire helps you see what matters most. In the end, desire is the heart, and discipline is the hands. The heart must beat strong if the hands are to keep building. Fuel your desire. Keep it alive. Feed it with vision, prayer, truth, and purpose. Because when desire is burning bright, discipline becomes not just possible, it becomes powerful. Belief precedes breakthrough. Belief is the unseen foundation upon which every true breakthrough is built. It is the starting point of all progress, the invisible force that shapes visible outcomes. Before a person ever accomplishes something great, they must first believe it is possible, not merely as a wish or a distant hope, but as a deep conviction that what they have not yet seen can still become reality. Without belief, action falters, vision fades, and potential remains untapped. Every breakthrough, whether in business, health, relationships, faith, or personal development, first happens in the mind and heart. It is conceived in a place where no one else sees it. Others may doubt, criticize, or dismiss it, but the one who believes carries within them a quiet fire. Belief gives birth to resilience. When others quit, those who believe keep moving forward, because they are not working based only on what is, they are working based on what can be. Many people live stuck because they are waiting to see the evidence before they believe. But growth and transformation work the other way around. You must believe first, and then the evidence begins to appear. A person who doubts their ability will find endless reasons not to begin. They will talk themselves out of opportunity. But the person who believes they are called, capable, and chosen will walk through doors others didn't even notice. Belief isn't just a feeling, it is a force. It energizes action, fuels persistence, and helps you endure setbacks without giving up. When failure comes, and it will, belief says, "This is not the end. I'm still going." When people misunderstand you, belief says, "They may not see it now, but I know the truth." When the road seems long and lonely, belief whispers, "Keep going, it will be worth it." Even in scripture and history, belief always came before the breakthrough. Abraham believed he would become the father of many nations, even when he had no child. David believed he could defeat Goliath, while everyone else cowered in fear. Belief does not require the odds to be in your favor. It just requires the courage to trust what God has planted in your heart. It doesn't wait for permission or popular opinion. It moves with conviction. But belief is not passive. It is not mere positive thinking or empty motivation. Real belief is active. It changes how you speak, how you walk, how you treat yourself, and how you treat others. It drives preparation, persistence, and boldness. Belief says, I will train, I will show up, I will grow, because I know something bigger is coming. It anchors your identity and guides your decision. There will always be voices, both external and internal, that challenge your belief. Doubt, fear, and failure will try to shout louder than your faith. That's why you must protect your belief. Feed it with truth. Surround it with the right people. Seek life over your future, even when your present looks empty. You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need to believe enough to keep moving forward. Eventually, belief produces fruit. What was once invisible becomes visible. What was once a dream becomes a testimony. And others will look and say, how did it happen? But you will know it began the moment you believed. That belief opened your heart to possibilities, fueled your effort, and kept you steady in the storm. So whatever you're facing today, whatever mountain stands in front of you, whatever challenge weighs on your heart, start with belief. Believe that growth is possible. Believe that change is coming. Believe that breakthrough begins not when the world changes, but when your mind and heart, because belief always precedes the breakthrough. Learning is a lifelong assignment. Learning is not confined to the walls of a classroom or the chapters of a textbook. It is a lifelong assignment, a sacred and continuous process that stretches far beyond formal education. From the moment we draw our first breath to our final days on earth, we are students of life, of truth, of growth. Those who embrace this never-ending journey become wiser, stronger, and more equipped to fulfill their purpose. Those who resist it often find themselves stuck, stagnant, and unprepared for the changes and challenges of life. The world is constantly evolving. Circumstances change, knowledge expands, cultures shift, and technologies advance. To navigate life effectively, we must become committed learners. The person who stops learning has, in essence, stopped growing. And anything that stops growing begins to decay. To thrive in any area, whether it's spiritual maturity, personal development, relationships, or leadership, we must develop a teachable spirit. A teachable spirit is not just about gaining information. It's about having the humility to admit we don't know everything, and the hunger to pursue deeper understanding. Pride is the enemy of learning. The moment someone assumes they have arrived is the moment they begin to decline. True learners are always asking questions. They are quick to listen, slow to speak, and always open to fresh insight. They are not threatened by correction. They are sharpened by it. Life itself becomes the classroom. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, holds the potential to teach us something if we're willing to pay attention. A failure can teach resilience. A betrayal can teach discernment. A disappointment can deepen faith. Learning doesn't always come in comfortable packages. Sometimes it's wrapped in hardship and difficulty. But those who learn from life's lessons grow in wisdom, strength, and grace. Scripture supports the lifelong pursuit of wisdom. Proverbs declares that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, and yet it never says knowledge ends. Throughout the Bible, we see examples of people who remained teachable throughout their lives. Moses learned in Pharaoh's palace, then in the wilderness, and continued to grow even as God used him to lead a nation. Paul, despite his deep theological knowledge, constantly pressed on toward deeper revelation. Even Jesus, as fully God and fully man, was said to grow in wisdom and stature. Learning also protects us from deception. In a world filled with half-truths, opinions, and spiritual confusion, continuous learning, rooted in truth, helps us stay grounded. We must be diligent students of God's Word, not just readers, but applier. It's not about how much we know, but how much we grow through what we know. Truth is not just intellectual, it's transformational. And transformation only happens when we commit to keep learning. Moreover, lifelong learning keeps us relevant and useful. God desires to use people who are adaptable, who can serve in different seasons, and who can reach different generations. If we stop learning, we become rigid. But if we continue learning, we stay fresh, creative, and capable of impact. Whether you're 18 or 80, God still has more to show you, more to teach you, and more to grow in you. So we must approach each day with a learner's mindset. Every interaction, every sermon, every book, every challenge is an opportunity to grow. We must never lose the curiosity of a child or the humility of a student. Life will keep teaching, but only the willing will keep growing. Make learning your daily assignment, not as a burden, but as a blessing. Because the more you learn, the more you become. And the more you become, the more you can fulfill the life you were created to live. Your environment shapes your elevation. Your environment plays a critical role in shaping the direction of your life. The people you associate with, the atmosphere you dwell in, the voices you listen to, and the influences you allow into your heart, these all contribute to your elevation or your stagnation. Just as a seed can only thrive in the right soil, your growth is deeply affected by where and with whom you are planted. Elevation is not simply about talent or effort. It is often about environment. A toxic environment can suffocate potential. When you are constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, doubt, or complacency, your vision can become clouded and your faith can start to shrink. You begin to adopt the mindset and limitations of those around you. Dreams that once burned brightly can dim under the weight of discouraging voices. When you stay in places that tolerate dysfunction or resist growth, you will find yourself adjusting downward rather than reaching upward. On the other hand, a healthy, faith-filled environment lifts you. When you are around people who challenge you, inspire you, and believe in what God has placed inside you, you begin to rise. Encouragement is like oxygen to the soul. It revives what's been suffocated and fans the flame of purpose. You begin to believe more, expect more, and strive for more because you see it modeled around you. A strong environment speaks life, not death. It cultivates discipline, not distraction. It nurtures purpose, not passivity. Even Jesus was affected by environment. When he returned to his hometown, the people's lack of faith created a climate where few miracles could occur. Their environment was filled with familiarity and unbelief. It wasn't his power that was lacking. It was the atmosphere that was unreceptive. This should serve as a powerful reminder that even the most anointed among us can be hindered by a limiting environment. That's why it's important to examine your environment with honesty. Who is speaking into your life? What are you listening to every day? Are the people around you building you or breaking you? Are they helping you rise or pulling you down? Your circle is either your ladder or your cage. Sometimes elevation requires separation. You may need to walk away from certain voices, habits, or places that no longer align with your purpose. Growth demands that you be intentional about what you allow into your space. Your physical environment matters too. Clutter, disorder, and chaos can reflect and reinforce internal confusion. Order invites clarity. Excellence in your surroundings creates momentum in your spirit. Whether it's your home, workspace, or personal schedule, crafting a space that honors your goals helps you move toward them with strength and focus. Most importantly, your spiritual environment shapes everything else. Spending time in God's presence, meditating on His Word, and surrounding yourself with faith-filled people positions you for divine elevation. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, and in that freedom, you are able to grow into who you were created to be. Worship, prayer, and community are not just religious activities. They are environmental forces that renew your mind and transform your heart. Ultimately, your environment either supports your destiny or sabotages it. If you want to rise higher, Walk with those who are going somewhere. If you want to grow stronger, stay planted in a place that feeds your soul. You don't have to remain stuck in surroundings that are beneath your calling. Choose to build an environment that speaks to your future, not your fear. Because when the environment is right, your elevation is inevitable. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. Dreams are powerful. They ignite vision, stir hope, and reveal what could be. But dreams alone do not change the world or transform lives. Action does. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. It is the force that takes ideas out of the realm of imagination and brings them into tangible form. Without action, the most beautiful dream remains a fantasy. With action, even the smallest step can become the beginning of a life-changing journey. Many people have dreams. They dream of starting a business, writing a book, restoring relationships, improving their health, growing spiritually, or making a difference in the world. But dreaming, though necessary, is not enough. Dreaming must lead to doing. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is closed not by wishing, but by working. Action is the price we pay for progress. Action reveals commitment. Talk is cheap. Anyone can speak lofty goals or cast an inspiring vision, but it's what we do that shows what we truly believe. Faith without works is dead, not because faith isn't powerful, but because true faith always moves. Belief is proven in behavior. If you really believe something is worth pursuing, you will take steps toward it, even if they are small, even if they are uncomfortable, even if you're afraid. One of the biggest obstacles to action is fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. But fear loses its grip when we decide to move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to act in spite of it. The truth is, you don't have to have it all figured out to begin. You just need to take the next step. Momentum is built through motion. As you move, clarity increases, confidence grows, and doors begin to open that would have remained shut to a passive heart. Another enemy of action is procrastination. It wears the mask of perfectionism and offers the illusion of someday, but someday is not a day of the week. Delayed obedience often becomes disobedience. The longer you wait to act, the more comfortable you become in inaction. Progress requires urgency, not frantic, pressured activity, but intentional, consistent movement. One act of obedience today can be more powerful than 1,000 good intentions tomorrow. We must also understand that action doesn't have to be dramatic to be effective. Sometimes we wait for the perfect moment or a big opportunity, overlooking the power of steady, small steps. Every great achievement is the result of many small actions done repeatedly. Success is not built in a day, it is built day. Reading one chapter, making one call, praying one prayer, learning one skill, these add up. Compound effort over time creates transformation. Action also separates the dreamers from the achiever. Many admire from a distance what others have built, never realizing that what looks like talent or luck is often the result of relentless action behind the scenes. Breakthroughs are born in the quiet moments of faithfulness. Every story of success is stitched together with threads of consistent effort. Moreover, action invites God's power. When we move in obedience, even when it's uncomfortable or unclear, we position ourselves for His grace to meet us. God doesn't bless inactivity, He blesses steps of faith. The miracle didn't happen until the priest stepped into the Jordan River. The oil didn't multiply until the widow started pouring. The walls of Jericho didn't fall until they marched. In Scripture and in life, action precedes manifest. So whatever dream is in your heart, whatever calling, goal, or burden you carry, don't just sit on it. Move, act, start, speak, build, write, reach, pray, risk, because action is the bridge between what you see in your spirit and what becomes real in your life. Dreams inspire, but action transforms.